I chose to analyze the TED Talk called Getting Comfortable with Being Uncomfortable by Lovey and Majay. In this speech, Lovey and Majay talks about how fear is what drives most of us away from conquering our lifelong passions or lifelong goals, and how conquering these fears, taking leaps of faith, and speaking up against injustices is what will lead us one step closer to leaving this world a little better than we found it. As for the ethos part of this speech, Lovey and Majay credits her professional life as being a writer to what has allowed her to take those leaps of faith. As for pathos, Lovey and Majay uses her experience of skydiving as a anecdote to conquering most of her fears, as staying on the plane will allow her to stay in her comfort zone rather than jumping out of that plane, allows her to take that leap of faith and endure all that comes with it. And many people can relate to an anecdote such as this, as many people have taken risks that they know they could have had worse consequences for, or worse outcomes, but still did it anyway for the sake of justice. As for logos, Lovey argues that all it takes is one person to speak up against injustices, and such as the Me Too movement. She mentioned how many men and women were scared to speak out of fear that their careers would be lost, but they spoke out against their sexual harassment offenders and were eventually praised for this. And for the organization, Lovey and Majay said that she kept contributing her fear of jumping out of that plane and using that as a transition all throughout the speech. As for the style, Lovey and Majay used metaphors such as the domino effect, skydiving out of a plane, and taking leaps of faith to convey her message. As for the delivery, her delivery was very smooth. She paused a few times to allow the audience to process what she was saying, and she made really good eye contact with all of her audience. To conclude, Lovey and Majay's goal of this speech was to encourage people to speak up against injustices and conquer their fears. No matter how small or big they may seem, it will leave this world a little better than we left it. Thank you.